Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Is Mitch Bacall the shocking bio dad Claire never knew? The Young and the Restless spoilers and updates suggest that the series is poised for a significant twist regarding Claire Newman's, Hayley Erin, paternity. Want more of The Young and the Restless? Get updates on the latest news about The Young and the Restless, straight to your inbox. We use your personal data for interest-based advertising, as outlined in our privacy notice. What is this? Could a shocking revelation about Mitch Bacall, Roger Howarth, being her biological father be on the horizon? Soap operas are notorious for retcons rewriting history. It's a possibility that deserves some thought, particularly now that Cole Howard, J. Eddie Peck, has met a tragic end. The show might opt for a rewrite, leaving Claire in shock upon discovering that her father was actually someone else, specifically Mitch. After all, there must be a reason for Victoria Newman, Amelia Hayley, to join the Los Angeles storyline. This could involve more than just Victoria offering her support to Noah Newman, Lucas Adams, and checking in on Claire. What if Victoria and Mitch had a romantic history? Victoria could be in for a shock. Victoria could be in for a shock if she encounters Mitch and recognizes him as her past love. It's not unusual for soap operas to introduce plot twists many years later, just as they did when it was revealed that Claire was still alive. What is this? Although Cole asserted he was the biological father after a DNA test, no one else actually saw the results except for Cole himself. We could believe perhaps Cole was so desperate to have a family with Claire and Victoria that he fabricated the truth. Especially since Claire required a strong father figure in her life to guide her, Cole provided that, but now he's gone and clearly not contributing anything further to the narrative. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. A paternity curveball? Perhaps it's time for a paternity curveball to totally upend Claire's world. Of course, Claire would still be a Newman since Victoria is her mother, so Y&R could keep that part of her identity intact. Nevertheless, Claire adored Cole and would be shaken up to learn her bio dad was shady Mitch. Since Mitch is somehow linked to the life-threatening mess Noah got caught up in, that could certainly create some conflict with Claire. We should also mention that back when Roger Howarth played Franco Baldwin on General Hospital and Hayley Erin played Kiki Jerome, they worked well together. He wasn't really her father, but they bonded like they were father and daughter. Kiki thought Franco was her father at one point before realizing her bio dad was someone else. Even so, Kiki maintained a bond with Franco, which led to some great father-daughter-ish chemistry between Howarth and Erin. What is this? Howarth recently posted a pic with Erin on his Instagram story that arguably served as evidence of that father-daughter vibe. Regardless, a paternity twist could be a game-changer for Claire, so stay tuned to see if some stunning updates might be headed her way. The Young and the Restless spoilers say there's much more LA mayhem to come no matter what. Be sure to catch up on everything happening with Y&R right now. Come back here often for The Young and the Restless spoilers, news, and updates. The Young and the Restless spoilers. Is Mitch Bacall the shocking bio dad Claire never knew? In Genoa City, the whispers never die, and when it comes to family secrets, The Young and the Restless never fails to deliver a bombshell that shakes the canvas to its core. As fans continue to speculate about Mitch Bacall's mysterious past and his sudden emergence in town, a stunning theory has begun to circulate, one that could rewrite everything Claire Grace Newman thought she knew about herself. Could Mitch Bacall secretly be Claire's biological father? It's a question that has the potential to explode lives, redefine alliances, and send shockwaves through both the Newman and Abbott families. Mitch Bacall's entrance into Genoa City was anything but ordinary. Portrayed by Roger Howarth, his arrival was shrouded in intrigue, his connection to key figures deliberately vague, and his motives impossible to pin down. The writers have teased fragments of his past, glimpses of regret, unspoken guilt, and familiarity with characters who shouldn't even know his name. But when Mitch crossed paths with Claire, something clicked. A moment, fleeting but electric, seemed to suggest recognition on both sides, though neither could explain why. Could it be instinct? Or is it something deeper, buried in a past that's been carefully erased? For months now, Claire has been fighting to find her footing in Genoa City after a lifetime of manipulation by her so-called Aunt Jordan. She's rebuilt bridges with the Newmans, found purpose at Newman Media, and slowly opened her heart to a new life. But deep down, there's a haunting emptiness that even Victoria Newman, her biological mother, can't quite fill. The father she's been told died long ago, an unnamed man Jordan claimed was a shadow who abandoned her family before she was even born. Yet, the pieces don't quite add up. Jordan's lies ran deep, and if there's one thing Claire's learned, it's that her entire life was a masterclass in deception. Could Jordan have also lied about Claire's father? If so, why? Enter Mitch Bacall, a man with secrets as thick as Newman Tower's walls. He arrived claiming to be in Genoa City for business, but his repeated run-ins with Newman family members feel too convenient to be coincidence. His charm masks a careful observer who seems to know far more about the Newmans than any newcomer should. And when Mitch found himself alone with Victoria, that charged silence said volumes. Some fans believe that was the moment Victoria realized Mitch's past may not be as distant as it seems. What if Mitch wasn't a stranger to her family at all, but part of a long-buried chapter from her own youth? The theory gaining steam is that Mitch once had a brief but passionate encounter with Victoria years ago, long before she knew she was pregnant. Perhaps Jordan, always lurking in the shadows, intercepted the truth, manipulating events so that Victoria never learned Mitch was the father of her child. It fits Jordan's twisted psychology perfectly. She could have kept the real father in the dark while fabricating an entirely different origin story for Claire, one that would make the girl easier to control. If Mitch Bacall truly is Claire's biological father, that revelation would destroy Jordan's manipulations in one fell swoop. But what would it mean for Mitch? His connection to the Newman family would go from curious to cataclysmic overnight. The Newmans have always protected their own, but Victoria's guilt and heartbreak over losing years with Claire might turn to fury if she realizes someone, perhaps even Mitch himself, knew more than they let on. Victor Newman, ever the patriarch, would not take kindly to another man claiming blood ties to his granddaughter. Yet at the same time, Victor respects power and loyalty, and if Mitch proves himself worthy, the Newman patriarch might see him as an unexpected ally rather than a threat. But not everyone in Genoa City would welcome the news. Nate Hastings, who has been cautiously developing feelings for Victoria, might see Mitch as both a romantic and professional rival. His medical background has taught him to rely on evidence, so you can bet he'd demand a DNA test before accepting anything. Meanwhile, Nikki Newman, forever the matriarch balancing heart and survival, would be torn between relief that her granddaughter's past isn't as sinister as she feared and dread over what this means for the family's stability. After all, a new family tie means new complications, and in Genoa City, that always leads to drama. What's more intriguing is how Claire herself would react. This is a young woman who's spent her entire life questioning her identity. She's finally starting to feel like she belongs, but a revelation like this could send her spiraling all over again. If Mitch is indeed her father, she'd have to reconcile that her entire existence was built on stolen truths. Would she embrace Mitch as her dad? Or would she see him as just another person who abandoned her, even if unintentionally? Their shared bond might start off rocky, full of distrust and resentment, but Y&R thrives on redemptive arcs, and Claire finding a real, honest father figure in Mitch could be one of the show's most powerful storylines yet. Imagine Mitch, a man haunted by his own past mistakes, seeing a chance to do something right for once. His dynamic with Claire could evolve from cautious curiosity to protective devotion. The emotional resonance of a man. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Discovering he has a daughter he never knew, and a daughter discovering the father she always longed for, is classic Y&R gold. But there's another angle that could make this storyline even juicier. What if Mitch's connection to the Newmans isn't just through Claire? Rumors have already hinted that Mitch may have old business ties with Victor, possibly as part of a secret operation from years ago that went sideways. If Victor once trusted Mitch, or worse, betrayed him, that could explain Mitch's hidden motives. Maybe his return to Genoa City isn't coincidence at all, but a slow-burning mission for answers and closure. Discovering Claire might throw all of that into chaos. He could have come for revenge but ended up finding family instead. Meanwhile, Jordan's reaction to the truth would be volcanic. The woman who once held Claire's life in her hands would see her entire empire of lies collapse. Her hold over Claire was built on the story that she was saving her from an absent mother and a deadbeat father. To learn that both of Claire's real parents are alive, connected, and now reclaiming her would destroy Jordan's twisted sense of control. It could even set up her return for one last, desperate attempt to destroy the Newmans, this time targeting Mitch directly. Y&R thrives on generational echoes, and if this theory proves true, Mitch and Claire's bond could become the emotional centerpiece of the next Newman saga. It would also give Claire a new narrative direction, away from being the damaged victim of Jordan's schemes and toward becoming a central figure of strength and redemption, anchored by her newly discovered father. But of course, there's always the question of proof. The show could easily stretch the suspense over months, DNA tests tampered with, secrets whispered, and confrontations simmering under the surface. Victoria might resist the idea at first, while Claire clings to it with both hope and fear. Mitch could struggle with guilt, wondering if his ignorance cost his daughter her childhood. And as Genoa City watches, the truth would inevitably come to light in the most dramatic fashion, perhaps during a Newman family gathering or corporate event where a single test result changes everything. If Mitch Bacall turns out to be Claire's father, the young and the restless could explore rich emotional terrain, redemption, family, and the weight of lies. It would also give Roger Howarth's character a deeply personal stake in the drama, a far cry from the wandering newcomer he first appeared to be. Fans already love Howarth's ability to bring depth and moral complexity to every role, and pairing him with Hayley Erin's vulnerable but resilient Claire could be the show's next great parent-child duo. For now, Y&R fans are left to read between the lines, picking up clues from every lingering glance and cryptic comment. Mitch's presence feels too deliberate, his timing too perfect. The question isn't just who Mitch Bacall is anymore, it's who he belongs to. And if Claire Grace turns out to be his daughter, it would rewrite Genoa City history in the most dramatic way imaginable. Stay tuned, because this potential twist could redefine the Newmans, the Bacalls, and every heart in between. The young and the restless spoilers, Victoria could be in for a shock. Genoa City is a town that thrives on secrets, betrayals, and emotional detonations, and Victoria Newman might soon find herself at the center of the next explosion. The poised, business-savvy CEO of Please subscribe and like the video before continuing. Newman Enterprises has weathered countless storms, from corporate coups to romantic heartbreaks, but nothing could prepare her for what's reportedly coming next. The latest whispers from the young and the restless set reveal that Victoria could soon be blindsided by a revelation that shakes not only her family's foundation but her very sense of identity. The question is, what could possibly be big enough to rattle one of the most powerful women in Genoa City? It all begins with the arrival of Mitch Bacall, a mysterious and magnetic man who's already turning heads and stirring suspicions. Played by Roger Howarth, Mitch is a newcomer whose past seems to intertwine with the Newmans in ways no one can fully explain. He's been spotted lingering around Newman Tower, his gaze lingering on Victoria just a little too long, his comments about family and loyalty carrying hidden meaning. Their early interactions were polite but charged, like two people sharing a connection they couldn't quite name. But that spark could be more than attraction, it could be recognition. Behind Victoria's controlled composure, there's always been a layer of longing, a restlessness for something beyond business. She's spent years trying to balance love, legacy, and leadership, often sacrificing personal happiness for the Newman Empire. But now, just as she's finally found stability, rebuilding her relationship with her daughter Claire Grace and finding a tentative peace with her father Victor, this new presence threatens to upend everything. According to emerging speculation, Mitch may not just be a stranger passing through Genoa City. He could be connected to Victoria in a shocking and deeply personal way. Some fans believe Mitch could be a ghost from Victoria's past, perhaps a man she crossed paths with years ago and forgot, or worse, someone she trusted who vanished under mysterious circumstances. But others think this twist could go even deeper. Could Mitch Bacall be the missing link in the mystery of Claire's paternity? After all, the story of Claire's origins has always been tangled in deception, thanks to Jordan's manipulations. Jordan claimed that Claire's father was an absent man who died long ago, a lie that Victoria accepted without question as she grieved the years she lost with her daughter. But what if the truth is far more complicated? What if Mitch Bacall is the man Victoria never knew she'd loved, and the father Claire never knew she had? The implications are staggering. If this theory proves true, it would mean that Victoria's history has been rewritten by Jordan's lies once again. Imagine the emotional fallout, Victoria realizing that the man standing in front of her, a man she's begun to trust, maybe even like, is actually the father of the child she thought she'd lost forever. For Victoria, a woman who guards her heart with titanium walls, the discovery could be both devastating and liberating. She's always been the protector, the strategist, the one who anticipates every move before it happens. But this would be the one twist she never saw coming, one that forces her to look at her past, her choices, and her capacity for forgiveness in a new light. And then there's Mitch himself. He's been playing his cards close to the vest, but subtle moments suggest he's carrying guilt, a sense of loss, and perhaps a truth too painful to voice. If he truly is connected to Victoria, why is he keeping it secret? Could he have known about her all along? Or is he just as blindsided as she is? The emotional terrain is ripe for exploration. Picture Victoria confronting Mitch in her office late at night, demanding answers, the tension between them thick with anger and unresolved feelings. He might confess that he never knew, that Jordan had kept him in the dark. Or perhaps he reveals that he did know, but circumstances forced him to stay away, a revelation that would send Victoria reeling. She's been betrayed before by men she trusted, JT, Ashland Locke, even Billy in his impulsive moments, but this would be betrayal of a different kind. Not one of malice, but of fate and cruel manipulation. The emotional scars left behind could either destroy her trust forever or open her up to a kind of love she's never experienced, one rooted in truth rather than ambition. Of course, this revelation wouldn't just affect Victoria. It would ripple through every corner of the Newman family. Victor would be furious, not necessarily at Mitch, but at the chaos it brings to his family. The patriarch has spent his life controlling the narrative, protecting the Newman name at all costs. A man appearing out of nowhere claiming to have a biological tie to Victoria and Claire would threaten that control. Victor might see Mitch as an opportunist and move swiftly to protect his daughter and granddaughter, setting off a new Newman-Bacall rivalry. Meanwhile, Nikki Newman would be torn. She's always been Victoria's emotional anchor, offering wisdom when her daughter's heart falters. But Nikki's instincts might tell her that Mitch is telling the truth. She's seen this kind of pain before, the longing for lost years, the ache of secrets that refuse to stay buried. She might even encourage Victoria to seek closure, no matter how painful it is. And then there's Claire. The young woman who's fought so hard to find peace after Jordan's manipulation might finally find the missing piece of her puzzle. The father she never knew could bring her the sense of belonging she's been craving. But will she embrace Mitch's family, or will she push him away out of fear of being hurt again? Claire's reaction could become the emotional core of this storyline. If she accepts Mitch, it could heal years of trauma. But if she rejects him, or if Victoria tells her too late, the damage could be permanent. One thing is certain, Victoria's world is about to change forever. Whether it's through the revelation of Mitch's paternity, a resurfacing of an old romance, or a betrayal that cuts deeper than ever, she's heading toward a reckoning that will force her to choose between her heart and her heritage. But what if the shock waiting for Victoria isn't about Claire at all? Another possibility is that Mitch's connection to the Newmans could be professional, or even dangerous. Some fans believe Mitch might be connected to one of Victor's long-buried corporate rivalries. Perhaps he's back in town seeking revenge for something Victor did decades ago, and Victoria is his unintentional target. That would make his growing connection with her a twisted form of poetic justice. Imagine Victoria discovering that the man she's allowed into her orbit is actually a player in a dangerous game against her father, a revelation that would leave her questioning her own judgment once again. The writers could even layer both twists together. Mitch begins as an enemy seeking revenge but ends up discovering he's actually family. It's the kind of irony that The Young and the Restless excels at, love and hate intertwined, truth and deception blurred beyond recognition. As all of this unfolds, one thing is clear: Victoria Newman is standing at the edge of a cliff she doesn't even see yet. Her world has been defined by power and control, but the coming weeks could strip both away, leaving her face to face with the raw, unfiltered truth. And whether that truth is about family, love, or betrayal, it's going to hit her harder than anything she's faced before. Roger Howarth's Mitch Bacall is the perfect catalyst for this kind of transformation. His quiet intensity and emotional complexity suggest that whatever he's hiding, it's big, and it's personal. His chemistry with Amelia Heinley's Victoria is undeniable, simmering with the kind of tension that can only come from shared history or unspoken connection. If the show chooses to take this storyline in the direction fans are hoping for, Victoria could finally get a story that lets her explore vulnerability instead of power plays, a story that tests her heart rather than her business instincts. But knowing Genoa City, this revelation won't stay clean or simple. DNA tests could be tampered with. Evidence could go missing. Enemies like Audra or Adam might use the situation to their advantage, exposing the truth in the most public, humiliating way possible. Imagine Victoria learning the truth not in private but at a Newman Media event, with cameras rolling and the entire family watching. It would be the ultimate soap shocker, and the kind of moment that would change The Young and the Restless forever. Whatever the truth turns out to be, Victoria Newman is standing on the brink of a storyline that could redefine her. The poised CEO, the devoted mother, the daughter who's always tried to please her father, she's about to be tested in ways that no boardroom battle could prepare her for. And when the dust settles, Genoa City will never see her the same way again. Stay tuned, because when Victoria's shock hits, it's not just her life that will change, it's the entire Newman dynasty. Please subscribe and like the video before continuing.